Hey everybody, Brock Freddy here, helping you enjoy your ride. In today's video, we're going to take a look at an amazing machine. I love this vehicle. I was at Impex Auto Sales and I was actually picking up another vehicle and I drove right past this thing. I slammed on the brakes and I said, I've got to film that. And that is a 1986 Toyota Landcruiser FJ60. This thing is so cool. I don't know the history of this vehicle in particular, but it looks like it has been restored from the ground up. The inside, when I say, is absolutely perfect. You'll see what I'm talking about. This thing is perfect. It's been my honor to drive it around this weekend, and I feel so cool because I've been, people think it's mine. We're gonna go over the inside, the outside, the engine, the undercarriage. At the very end, I'm actually gonna put a quick slideshow. I normally don't do a slideshow, but I want you to see all the ins and outs and the little details of this thing. I also love the fact that this thing is a stick shift. It's a 4-speed stick shift, and it's just been a blast to drive. It also has a choke. I mean, you gotta pull a little lever in order to start it, and it's grumpy in the morning. It does not like to start up whenever it's cold. That's one of the things I love about it too. Let's jump right in to a 1986 Toyota Landcruiser FJ60. But before we get started, I would like to say a huge thank you to Impex Auto Sales in Greensboro, North Carolina for the opportunity to film this beautiful Landcruiser. I'll be sure to leave all of Impex Auto Sales contact information, including their website, in the description box below. This particular iteration of the FJ60 was built and ran from 1981 to 1987. As I mentioned in the intro, this one is a 1986 version. This thing is completely simple. There is nothing complicated about it at all, unless you don't know how to drive stick. If you know how to drive stick, then you can operate this thing. It is so easy to use. It is so super basic. This one also has, which is amazing to me, has 338,000 miles on it. And it's one of those things where you can see the odometer and it actually has enough digits there to accommodate for hundreds of thousands of miles instead of just under 100,000 miles. So Toyota knew what they were doing in making this vehicle crazy reliable. The colors available on this series of FJ60 were Alpine White, Freeborn Red, Royal Blue, Desert Beige, and Brown. Those were the solid exterior colors. The metallic exterior colors were Cognac, Stardust Silver, Sky Blue, Gray Blue, Charcoal Gray, and Root Beer. Now, I think this one is either Desert Beige, Brown, or Root Beer. Toyota classified this as technically a 4-door wagon, and it's a front engine 4x4. It has a 4.2 liter overhead inline 6. The fuel system is carbureted. It has 135 horsepower with 210 pound-foot of torque at 1800 RPM, and it has a glorious 4-speed manual transmission. It's got a wheelbase of 107.5 inches, a total overall length of 184 inches, width of 70.9 inches. Total height from the factory is 69.5 inches. The reason I say from the factory is because I think this one's quite taller because of those beautiful, beefy, gorgeous BF Goodwrench tires. The front and rear track respectively is 58.5 inches by 57.9 inches. Total cargo storage is 98 cubic feet. Now I don't think it's 98 cubic feet with that back seat folded up like that, but look how massive that rear cargo area is, even with the back seat folded up. Let's fold down that rear seat. Now that's what I'm talking about. Look at that cargo area. That is a massive area. Isn't that amazing? You actually have to push that up, and you have to push the same thing up on the other side, and you have to do it at the same time. And then, well, first you have to fold this up. That's the seat bottom. So you fold that up, then you undo these on either side, then that folds down there. Quite a large cargo area for anything that you would need. Wheel wells are right there, but that's not a big deal. They're really not in the way. You do have your aftermarket speakers there. I hadn't even been listening to the radio because I've just been listening to the glorious way the engine sounds and focusing on that, shifting that transmission, which I absolutely love doing. What a sweet unit. Now, Toyota says this has a towing capacity of 3,500 pounds. That's pretty impressive for a little inline six on a vehicle this size, that old. The suspension is semi-elliptical leaf springs, brakes, power ventilated disc drum, so you have disc up front, drum in the back. Curb weight is 4,246 pounds. Clearance is 8.1 inches. Clearly, this one has more of a clearance than that. Fuel capacity is 23.8 gallons. Mile per gallon estimate, 11 city, 18 highway. It's as clean underneath as it is inside and up top. There's your leaf spring suspension system. So let's go to the midsection here. It's so easy to get under it because of those big old tires too. There's the front side of your leaves. Let's take a look at those tires. Aren't those things fantastic? I think that's one of the things that really makes it stand out, is the fact that these tires are not only big and beefy, but they look retro with those retro looking wheels with the big cap in the middle, the black wheel right there, and then just the big black tire. And then you have your locking hubs right up here up front. That's if you're getting into some nasty four-wheeling situations. Now I say we take a look at the heart of the beast. And I am gonna have to use two hands to lift that hood, but the hood is here and right below the choke and all that stuff. We'll take a look at that in just a second. I love also the front of it, how the headlights are round. And the other thing too that I noticed is there are these little stalks right here, and I guess this gives you the ability to squirt off the headlights in a nasty, muddy situation. Now, as I mentioned before, it does have a 4.2 liter overhead valve inline six fuel system. It's got a carburetor. It's got 135 horsepower with 3,600 at 3,600 RPM, and the torque is 210 at 1,800 RPM. So you can see that the torque way outdoes the horsepower, which that is great. It's a short shift in first gear, so you're not in first gear very long at all. Because it's got super good low end torque. I want to show you here some of the cool things that I noticed about under the hood. You can see that there's Japanese writing right there. I love that. Really cool looking stuff right there. It just, you know it's a legit vintage old school piece of machinery. There's your distributor cap. There's your oil filter on top. So there's the little inline six that could. And this thing has 338,000 miles on it. Impressive. Let's start it up and see what she sounds like. Let's take a look inside. Now, stepping inside this thing is like taking a walk back into your grandma's living room because of the beautiful seat covers that are here, the beautiful yellow and brown and tan striped seats here. Also about the high pile brown carpet that you have on the floor and the seat back. Also the vinyl tan color roof here. All of this, by the way, is perfect. I guess it's been restored, but it looks like it's not even ever been used. So the way you fold this up is to just fold that up, click it there. There are 3 seat belts here. I'm just gonna leave those in place. Don't wanna feel like messing with them right now. But here's the back seat. This great big bench of a back seat. super easy, no frills. Stepping up into it is a little bit of a chore because of the fact that it's got these great big tires on it, but that's it. It's really no frills at all. I want to show you what it looks like from this position because it is straight vintage, but it looks like brand new. It looks like showroom. Look at that. I mean, it's like new. And I know what they say, you know, everybody says, oh, it's like new. No, I mean, this one is legit. Check that out. There's not even any stains on the seats or cracks on the dash or anything. Now, it doesn't smell new. It smells like grandma's, you know, living room, but it's 500 years old. I mean, come on, give me a break. So that is just the coolest, I think. Even the roof there, or the ceiling, it's all just perfect. I looked here on the inside of the door where normally, I'm gonna turn the camera sideways, where normally your paint codes are, but I didn't see what resembled a paint code here. I did see that it was manufactured in April of 1986. There's the VIN number, but that's all I really see. Let's hop inside and take a look at the features and start her up. Check out that key. Don't you just love that? That not only starts the car and unlocks the doors, but it also opens the fuel cap. You do have a adjustable steering column here, up and down. Like I mentioned before, there's your choke. You pull that when you start it. Gauge brightness adjustment. You can close your vents, open and close right there. Horn, hazard lights. And then in order to take the key out, let's just hop in and I'll show you. But in order to start it, of course, you put your foot on the brake, on the clutch, pull the choke. It might start without the choke being pulled right now since it's still warm. But key in. Oh yeah, there we go. Push the choke, and whenever you pull the choke, you see a light here that says choke, so that you know the choke is on in case you forget to push it back in. Whoop, right there. Whenever you turn it off, you have to turn the key back toward you, but you have to also push this button in, and that will disengage a lock and allow the key to be freed. If you don't do that at the same time, you're not pulling that key out. Here's your wipers, your turn signals. It's interesting that the tachometer is right there in the middle of the speedometer right here. Usually the tach is here on the far left, speedometer on the right, but that's not the way this one is. On the far left, in the big other big gauge cluster is going to be your coolant temp, your oil, battery volts, fuel, and then right there it says charge on the battery, and then brights. Tachometer, little bitty thing right there in the middle, and then your speedometer right there, and you can see right there 338,473 miles. Then right here in the middle is going to be all of your heat and your air conditioning. This one does have AC, and one of the things that's listed on the features for this is front and rear heat. There's your rear heat right there. You can turn that on and I could just hear the fan kick on, and the heat is actually under here, under this seat right here. There's heat coming out right now. It's a little box that's mounted under this seat, and now that's blowing. I'm gonna cut that off though. Rear wiper, defrost, auxiliary button, cigarette lighter that does work with your ashtray here, storage, and then aftermarket radio. It'd be cool if it had the original radio in it, but it does not. And then here is your transfer gear shifting instructions, and then your glove box with your owner's manual. So there's your low-high transfer case, stick shift, and reverse is down far left. 1, 2, 3, 4-speed transmission, a little bit of storage here, emergency brake, and then right here is your glove box or center console. But look how clean. You see what I mean by this? It's just perfect, and it's just mid 1980s brown glory. The dash is not even cracked. I don't know if any of this has been replaced. I would imagine it has been. The reason I say that is because there's a little bit of a blemish right here on top of the driver's side door, and I know it's been repainted. I can tell that it's been repainted, but the color looks original. So I say that's enough talk about the Landcruiser, about the FJ60. Let's take this baby for a ride. Now, I gotta admit, driving this thing is a little bit like wrestling an alligator, especially in light of, now if this was your vehicle in the mid 80s and you bought it new and this was your daily, no big deal, because compared to other vehicles, this is just what a vehicle was like to drive in the mid 80s. But today's vehicles, I drive a Prius. I push a button, I have a gear selector that's that big that, you know, you just boop, and you go, and it has a CVT and it's smooth as silk. This is not that. So compared to vehicles today, it's like wrestling an alligator, and I love it. I mean, think of it this way. If you could have this as your second car, third car, whatever, not as a daily driver, that would be just so much fun. Or if it was super reliable as far as starting and everything, again, super fun, because you just get so many compliments on it. Or if you had like a short commute, I would not want to take a long ride in this thing, because it would be rough. But dang, that's hot. Oh yeah, I love driving a manual. It is, gosh, I missed it. It's so much fun, and there are so few vehicles out there today that are manual. And one of the things that I'm really surprised by is the quality of the ride as far as the road noise. You hear more from that beautiful inline six than you do from the tires. And I think that speaks to the quality of these big old beefy BF Goodrich tires. I grew up with 5 speeds. I had one 4-speed. My first vehicle was a 80-something Nissan truck that said Datsun. It said Nissan by Datsun. And I think that was a 4-speed. My second one was an 81 Honda Prelude, one of the best vehicles ever. Third was another Nissan pickup truck that was a 5-speed. I didn't know anything else, and so when I got my first automatic, it was just like, I liked it, but it was just like, I don't feel like I have as much control. So this is just bringing back all kinds of good feelings for me. First gear is real short in this thing because it has to have good low-end torque, and again, that's surprisingly high. 3,500 pound tow capacity. See, I'm going 35 and I'm already up in 4th gear. But that's okay. It just means super crappy fuel economy at highway speeds. But if you're not driving at highway speeds and you're driving at low speeds, pulling something, towing something, or if you're doing what this thing is intended to do, riding around in the woods and rivers and trails and roots and all that, perfection. And it's fun to be in a vehicle this old and to be looking down on people simply because of those massive tires. But it doesn't take away from the vintage look of it. It just makes it look more kind of menacing and beefy. I just love it. I love also the simplicity of this baby. It just feels so good. It just feels so good. Of all the vehicles that I have ever reviewed, this has got to be in my top 3. Just from the fun aspect of it, the vintage aspect of it, the way it makes me feel from hearkening back to old days, but just like the sounds and the smells and everything feels so good. One of the things that I like about it too is the way the engine sounds whenever you're going up through the gears. It's got this kind of a little bit of a high-pitched hum when you're working your way up through the gears. It feels so good. I've just put it in neutral now so I can cruise a little bit, so you can probably hear me better now. But again, I am impressed by how big those tires are and how little you can hear them. You hear that hum? This fourth. The other thing too, there's a good amount of play in the steering wheel. Of course, it does have power steering, but it's got a good amount of play. So by no means are you going to be taking a lot of curvy roads in this thing, just because of the fact that there's a ton of play. Not a ton, but a good amount of play in the steering wheel. It's just old. The other thing too, the steering wheel is only about that big around. It's got a little tiny steering wheel. I can see where it would actually be comfortable for 3 people to be in that back seat. It's a comfortable vehicle. It's still kind of puzzling to me that I guess technically it's a 5-passenger because there were 5 seat belts in the back, but doesn't that sound good? Oh, I hope my camera is picking up what that sounds like. It just sounds, I don't know. I'm glad that there's not much like sound dampening material between the engine and the firewall in the cabin, because you get to experience the beauty of what that engine sounds like and bringing it up through the gears. It's not like my little sewing machine sounding Prius as a CVT. This it feels, you feel the guts of it. It just, oh, it's glorious. I want to downshift to 3rd so I can shift back to 4th. My gosh. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps you enjoy your ride. I also hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, because I love this thing. I would like to say another huge thank you to Impex Auto Sales in Greensboro, North Carolina, for the opportunity to film this glorious machine. As I mentioned before, I'll be sure to leave all of Impex Auto Sales contact information in the description box below. But remember, the most important thing, save the manuals, and also have a wonderful day, everybody.